Welcome to Java with James. It's the final edition of the 2024 IndyCar season, and we are joined by the great Katherine Legge. Katherine, thank you for joining us.
Last but not least, huh?
Saving the best for last.
Oh, there you go. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. Have you ever watched Java with James?
I have not, sorry.
No, it's fine. Most people haven't.
At least I'm honest.
Did they tell you the idea of why we're drinking coffee here?
They said to make you feel as uncomfortable as possible because you don't drink coffee.
You know what? I'm starting to think that you guys are against me in this whole thing, and I don't love it. I'm not thrilled about it. Okay, so that is true. I don't drink coffee, but we let
How
our
do
guests...
you get through life without coffee? That's my question.
I'm just naturally this annoying. Yeah, I don't need caffeine
You wake
to
up
do
in the
it.
morning, you're like, I'm good to go.
Yeah, Becky just hates it. She just can't.
She
stand
does
it.
coffee.
Oh yeah, every morning.
Okay, yeah.
Every morning, religiously.
Like the rest of us.
Like most normal human beings. Yeah. No, I accept that I'm in the minority here, and I am probably wrong. But so, tell us what we're drinking today.
Well, we are drinking a very dirty chai latte.
It's a lot of words I don't understand.
So, the accent.
No, that's not it. I have a British passport. I understand what you're saying. I don't understand what the words mean.
So it's a chai tea.
Okay, what is a chai tea?
It's, you know what chai is, right? It's
Spices?
Yeah.
Coffee, yeah.
So chai tea with a shot of espresso in it. So you get double
take tea,
whammy.
Right. But then did you say latte? So there's
Yeah,
milk
there's
involved?
also milk involved.
So you put espresso into you put a ball of caffeine into your caffeinated drink.
Yeah. So I actually like chai tea, but I never did a dirty one before.
So that's what makes it dirty. Is
So the
putting
coffee,
the espresso bomb in
yes.
there.
So let's see. I'm gonna let you be the guinea pig.
I don't love that. They did something really mean to me last time. They put every different flavor of all the different flavors into
Oh,
a...
that sounds super sweet. I don't like the syrups. I don't do sugar typically.
That's a confusing flavor. That's a very confusing
It
flavor.
kind of is. It's very sweet.
Is that what we're calling that? Is that very sweet to you?
Yeah, it's very sweet to me.
Okay. Yeah, so look, normally coffee just tastes like the bottom of a shoe after a track walk at an abrasive circuit.
I should have gone with like hardcore black espresso, shouldn't I?
They've done
would've
that to me.
made-
They've done that to me. But this is, you've got that, the base is that dirty tar flavor, but this kind of flavor bomb from the chai tea.
I think I would
not.
do the chai tea normally. I think it's cleaner.
Enough about coffee, let's talk about racing.
Okay, let's talk about the vacation you've just been on.
You wanna talk about that?
Yeah, because I followed it on Instagram
Okay.
and I had serious vacay and like envy.
Okay.
It looked awesome.
Yes. Which part did you like the look of?
All of it. You did some really cool adventures. The weather looked amazing. The water looked amazing.
The water, so we were in the Bahamas,
Was it the Bahamas? Okay.
and we love the Bahamas.
Okay.
Big fan. The water's beautiful.
Yeah.
Great company. Great.
Yep.
Stopped at some great spots.
Yeah.
It's hard to go wrong in the Bahamas.
The food looked good.
Food is phenomenal. Enjoyed some beverages.
And then you had to come to Nashville.
And then, well, yeah, I mean, this was a while ago. We
Was
went to Portland first after that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was
My
the break.
time tails all off.
Yeah. Well, it is because you're running kind of a mixed schedule. You got a lot of stuff going on. But let's talk about your IndyCar year. Was it? No. Do you want to talk about your IndyCar year?
Not really. Yes.
Let's do it. Let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
It's a hard thing to jump in to a series as a part-timer.
Yep.
With a team even that's, I don't want to say going through instability, but they don't have regular drivers. Like they've gone through more rotation in the driver lineup than even normal. So
Yeah.
difficult year for the team, and difficult to just jump in against a group of people that have been with the same team all year. They're race fit. They're tuned in with what's happening. What have been some of the biggest challenges of the season for you?
All of the above.
Yeah.
I think you're not wrong. Like it was a big challenge coming back last year for Indy, having not driven an IndyCar for 10 years. Like these guys, they're going in and out of pit lane hundreds of times a month, and they're just dialed into the car. It would be like me telling them to get in my IMSA car, right, and go and do as good a job as everybody else out there. It takes a minute. Like it takes a hot minute. Yes, I have the experience to call upon, but it was a while ago, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
So that jumping back in was a challenge. I thought I would get back up to speed quicker than I did, but there's also the challenge of you're trying to set the car up. We're trying to like scramble. Like Dale does a tremendous job with what he has resource-wise, but we just don't have the resources of the other teams in the paddock. And so everybody there is super passionate and we're all trying really hard, but it's a scramble to get to every event, let alone plan for it and engineer the car for it. And so we're coming in on the back foot. We're not rolling off the trailer like these guys are with like a list of changes that we're going to make.
A 48-page engineering pre-race briefing.
Exactly. So not just getting to grips with the car for myself and coming back to the tracks. Like I've never been here to Nashville before, for example. Milwaukee was again a decade ago. I feel like when the car has been good and we've rolled off the truck good, we've done a good job. But even things like strategy, we're out there, we're doing 10 laps longer than everybody else in a set of tires to get to the front, to get some TV time for ELF, our wonderful sponsor. And it's a very different experience to when you're with a Penske or a Ganassi or an Andretti or somebody like that, where you literally are just focused on the results and getting in the car and doing your job. It's been wonderful and amazing. And do I want to do more? Yes. I want to do the full season. I want to do all the races. I want to do everything. But I also realize, I think after driving literally everything in my career, I realized the importance of being with experience and establishment, And so it's been up and down. When we've rolled off the truck and we haven't been fast, it's been a struggle, honestly, because we don't have that wealth of experience to pull from.
Right.
But there's been so many positives too, like ELF coming on board and really representing women in racing, and it feels like this whole girl power, girl club, which is really, really neat. And Jack's been a wonderful teammate, and there's been a lot of good things too.
So you talk about it being a little bit more difficult or taking a bit longer to kind of get back up to speed. What was the hardest part? And I know a lot's changed since you were in IndyCar before. So what was the element that sort of caught you off guard that's made it a little bit tougher to be comfortable right away?
I think second guessing yourself all the time. Like having to consciously think about things rather than it just being natural and subconscious. Like I can get in an IMSA race and I don't even think about where I'm going, what I'm doing, what the schedule's like what the car is, where pit lane speed limiter is,
right.
Everything is just like, oh yeah, it happens without you thinking about it. Whereas I have to think about this, not so much now, but especially when I first got back in. But that, and it's so competitive, right? Like every single driver on this grid is really, really freaking good. And so you jump in when they've been doing it all year and they're used to the car and they know where pit lane speed limiter is and they know all the things. And they know the name of their crew guys because they've been there all year, So you're jumping in and you're expected to perform up against the best of the best, and it's not that easy.
Because 1/10 these days in IndyCar, that's a big swing.
Spots,
yeah. So it's every little bit counts. So I've often tried to explain to people, who don't do this for a living, how tough it is as a driver to improve on an element of your game, right? If you're a basketball player and you suck at three-pointers, you can go to any court anywhere in the country and practice three-pointers until you're better.
Yes.
For drivers, we don't get to do that because testing's so limited. The practice, even on race weekends, it matters. You don't want to make a mistake because then you lose track time. As someone that doesn't even get to do that as often as everyone else, explain to everyone how you try to improve your craft away from race weekends, in between events, when you don't really have the opportunity or tools to get in a car and go test it.
It's so tough to not practice, right? Not have testing. And we don't have open access to the simulator or anything either. I'm kind of old school anyway. Like I drove here on the sim on the DIL because Honda have this really fancy sim. Have you driven it? And I'm like, okay, so I know the track. I came here, it's completely different, and completely alien. And like everybody else is like, no, it's really accurate. And I'm like, my brain doesn't work that way.
Right.
But I watch video because that's how I grew up doing it. So that's what works for me. So I found an old race from like 2008. Actually, a friend of mine, Andy Lally, sent to me. He's like, you need to watch this. I'm like, that's great, thank you. And then I look at data and I talk to people, people, again, here, what makes it even worse is some teams got to test here, some drivers got to test here, and we're coming in, new tires, new racetrack, not knowing what the setup is, like completely blind, if you like. And so you talk to them and you take what they say on board, or maybe with a pinch of salt, because you know, as drivers, even though you're friends, you're like, hey, is it flat? They're like, yeah, it's easy flat. You're like, sure.
Yeah, you do have to be careful when another driver tells you that.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, easy flat, no
easy
problem.
flat.
Yeah.
I mean, I may have been guilty of that before as well, like that kink
We've
at
all done
Daytona.
it.
Yeah,
We've all done it. So, I know it's been a challenging year for all these reasons, but pick one or two highlights for you for the year so far.
honestly, the highlight for me has been Elf coming on board this year in a big way, and it really uniting a lot of us girlies. It's honestly, I've always been, you know, you've known me for a while now. I've always been like, I just want to be a race car driver. I don't want to play on the fact that I'm female. I want to be taken seriously for my driving. But it just feels like an incredibly authentic way of being a girl, because I am, and being feminine, but also being taken seriously and being a driver too. And I can't tell you the number of young girls and women that have come up to me and said that they feel represented, they got somebody to cheer for. And you know that most of the products on the side of race cars that you see are not aimed towards women, believe it or not, you know. So they feel like Elf's a cult brand anyway, and so they feel like they can get behind that. So I've got a lot of new fans because of it, and I feel like this whole girl power movement has taken off, and I kind of love it.
I mean, I can tell you firsthand, back in the TV compound, there's a lot of women there that are really loving the fact that Elf's on board, and they're like, how do we get these products? We want to be part of this.
Yeah.
It's great. And look, I've noticed an incredible uptick in the female fan base in IndyCar.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, you have this, I don't want to say built-in audience, because I'm not saying that women have to cheer for women, but
yeah,
naturally that probably happens a little bit. So do you feel any more responsibility in that sense by being a woman representing women at this level of the sport?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you never set out to be a role model, right? You want to be a race car driver and you want to do it. You want to do it for Katherine or want to do it for James. And then you realize that all these kids are looking up to you. And so I've always thought, okay, if I can, like, take Roger Penske as an example, if I could make somebody like Roger Penske proud of the way I acted and the way I behaved and the way I represented, and my dad, right? And so the 9-year-old Catherine's out there thinking that I'm doing the right things and I'm trying as hard as I can and I'm being professional and all the things, then I've done a good job. So I always think of my dad and Roger Penske in a way.
Two good guys to impress. I get it.
Like, really, women are getting behind other women and women are watching women's sports. And while I don't agree with segregating us in racing, because I do think it's the only sport that we can compete on a level playing field. I don't know of any others. You think of any others? I don't think so.
I mean, you could argue golf, maybe? I don't know. I don't follow
it's still a
golf.
power thing, though,
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Yeah, that's true.
We don't hit as far as you guys. I mean, I definitely
I don't watch golf. I trust me. A lot of people hit further than I do. So.
Yeah. So.
No, you're right. Fundamentally, it is kind of the only, and it's historically been the only sport that allows it.
Yeah, and it's times changing. Like, go back to Janet Guthrie days.
Yeah.
Like, there weren't even women's bathrooms in the pits.
Right.
Then you had Lynn, and then Danica, and so it's kind of a snowball going down a mountain. And hopefully there'll be a lot of us. I think sometimes the series or the media or teams would pitch us against each other, but I honestly think that's total rubbish.
Right.
And I think that it should be more us sticking together against everybody else rather than who wants to be the best girl.
The shared life experience part that's a really interesting way of looking at it, because, as you say, racing is such a unique life. Anyone who's raced their whole lives didn't have a normal childhood, didn't have a normal high school experience, didn't go to college of any kind. So being able to share that with your fellow drivers is a good thing. I think just as a human, from a mental side, to be able to do that. But obviously it's a different dynamic for you, and so
because we're somewhat outcast, or when I was coming up through we were. Now I think it's slightly different.
Finally, let's wrap up with next year. What does next year look like? What do you want next year to look like? Can we see Katherine back in part-time, full-time? Is Elf on board? Where do we stand with everything? And people want to know.
I want to know.
Doesn't being a driver suck sometimes?
Yeah, because like I want to be like, well, we're working on this, and this is going to happen.
TV's no better. I don't know what I'm doing next year either, so it follows you.
Is this your last race?
As of now.
Right? Well,
Yeah.
this year with NBC,
Yeah.
right? Are you going to transition over? Oh, you can't say
I'd like to
so
know.
we're doing this.
I'd like to know. I say it's the same thing. I left driving hoping it'd be a little like cleaner on this side of the business. It's not.
Yeah.
So what do we think?
So working on it. I'm hoping, obviously, the Alpha back on board, hoping to do the 500 again. We actually have some really, really cool plans that I can't discuss with you at the moment, but it's going to be it's going to be a big year. It's going to be exciting.
Can you say whether they are IndyCar related or not?
Some are IndyCar related, some are not.
So we could see another multifaceted year for Katherine Legge?
Multifaceted year. There are no plans to do full season as of yet, although I really want to.
So we're not buying a condo in Carmel, Indiana yet. Okay.
I done that, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, got the snow shovel. I would love to, honestly, but no. I think for our partners and for Elf, it makes a lot of sense to do the races that get a lot of attention. And you know, Indy, for example, is the biggest sporting event in the world. The most people are there. 300,000 people, so for them to be there on site and represent is significant. So I think we'll do some big races.
Awesome. Well, hey, look, we've got one left. By the time this comes out, it'll be over. But by the time, as we're sitting here, we still have Nashville to go. So I hope it is best for last, not just with Java with James, but for Katherine Legge and the number 51. Thanks for joining us.